Today we are going to look at another piece of code from the Simple GUI module and also see how we can incorporate loops into a program that creates graphics. So today we will code for loops and use range functions within the Simple GUI package. Let's start off by checking out a new line of code from the Simple GUI package. Draw text. Draw text is a method that will allow us to write text on our frame that we generate. This method has 4 parameters: the text we want to print to the screen, the X and Y coordinate where we start writing the text, the font size, and then the color. Here we have our starter code. We import our Simple GUI module, and we have similar code as our last lesson. We have a function draw handler. We set up the frame called Python that is 500 pixels wide and 400 pixels high. And then we start the drawing. Inside of the function is where we place all the code that we want to run on the canvas. So we do canvas.drawText. We need the canvas first so that Python knows what we are drawing on. Then the drawText method to tell it what to do. Let's have it print computer science. And since it is a string, it needs to be in quotes. Then the next parameter is an X-Y coordinate pair. It goes in a set of parentheses. You have heard of X-Y coordinate pairs before in math, and this works similarly. The X position deals with the horizontal position of the text, and the Y deals with the vertical position. But unlike math class where 0, 0 is located in the center of the graph, 0, 0 is in the upper left-hand corner. So the X values start from 0 and go up the width of our canvas. So in this case, 500. Then Y values start at 0 and go down to 400. The height of the canvas. The nice thing about the fact that 0, 0 is in the upper left-hand corner is that X and Y values will never be negative. All right, so continuing on, let's get this code added to our starter code. Let's start with canvas. Draw text. Our text will be computer science. We will place our text at 50, 50. And then the third parameter is the font size in pixels. So let's do 36, so it is decently large. And then finally, the color. So let's just do red. Notice that each parameter is separated by commas and that our X-Y coordinate is in parentheses. Let's run this and see what happens. So it is kind of like what we were doing, outputting text on a screen, but now it is a little fancier. It is in graphic form instead of just text form. Feel free to mess around with some of the values here. Change the text, position, size, or color. After you have taken the chance to play, keep watching this video. All right, so now that you understand the basic workings of the draw text method, let's make it a little more interesting by bringing in a for loop. Remember, with our for loop, it creates a built-in counter variable that cycles through a set of numbers using the range function. Let's build out a few lines of code and see what happens. We create an R G, and B variable and set them all to 0. Then we create a for loop for R in range 256. This will create a for loop that repeats 256 times from 0 up to 255. So this will adjust R, which also is going to be used to represent red, is going to also go from 0 to 255. In the for loop, we create a color variable color, then set it equal to RGB parenthesis plus string R plus comma plus string G plus comma plus string B plus parenthesis. Notice when we do this that we carefully construct the string. We need all parts here. RGB, which can be capitalized or lowercase, parentheses, and then each R, G, and B values and commas. Now, when we create our text to draw, we are using this line. Canvas dot draw text. Python. 50 and 50 plus R divided by 2 plus 10 and color. Take a minute if you need and look at this line of code. What does it look like it will do? Got it? Let's run this. That's pretty cool, huh? So, what did that code actually do? Well, let's break it down. Each time through the for loop, R changes from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 up to 255. So when we create the color variable, G and B stay at 0, but R slowly goes from 0 up to 255. So we are gradually making the text a brighter color of red. So let's run this again. See how the text in the back is black, and as it moves towards the forefront, it turns more red? Okay, so then the next piece in the draw text method, the XY coordinates of the text, the X value is always 50, but the Y value will slowly get bigger. It starts at 50, then 51, then 52, up to 305. So let's run this code again. The Y value changes and gets larger, which is why our text starts at the top of the canvas and slowly works its way down. And looking back at the code, we look at the third parameter, which is the font size. The font size is R divided by 2 plus 10. So it starts at 10, and then each time the loop iterates, it increases by a half a pixel. So it goes from 10 to 10.5 to 11 to 11.5 up to 137.5. And of course, the color applied to the text slowly changes. So now that you get a better idea about how the code works, let's run this one last time and see the cool effect we created. All right, so how could we tweak this? I am going to change G to 255 up here. And then change the second value in my RGB color to G minus R. Now, Before I run this, let's predict how this will affect it. This will make G start off at 255 and slowly decrease it down to 0. This will make our color iterate from green to red and anywhere in between. When we run this, we can see just that. A pretty neat effect we couldn't get with just using a print statement. Well, we didn't talk about too much today, but at least you got to see one new method, draw text, and also a chance to review a for loop. As we introduce new things in Python, remember the old stuff we learned can still be applied. We will continue to build off of this in the next set of lessons.